Robert Halfon is a Tory MP who was on the Digital Democracy Commission. Mr. Halfon, what's it got to do with the Speaker? I mean, I don't mean that in a critical way, but why is it him initiating all this? Is that historically his role?
Well, he decided as Speaker to look how Parliament can engage with the public better and also how the public can engage with Parliament. So he sets up a Digital Democracy Commission, which is to look at ways that we can use the internet to make our democracy work better. And he asked me to serve as one of the commissioners. It was fascinating, and it's quite an exciting report. I mean, I went to see The Imitation Game recently, and I think Parliament often resembles that old Alan Turing analog computer. It's amazing, it's complicated, it's a work of genius, but no one understands it unless you have the brain of Alan Turing. And so what this report says is actually, let's make Parliament accessible to the public, let's involve them, let's encourage more online voting and make sure that all the parliamentary records are online and that people can comment on them properly via Twitter and other social media.
We were talking about where did this idea come from, that it'd be a good idea for the general public to be allowed to use their mobile phones in the public galleries. Go on.
At the moment, we rely on the parliamentary recorders, who do a fantastic job to monitor what Parliament is going on and what is reported. Why can't the citizens report it themselves? Why can't they tweet what they think of debates, tweet what is happening in debates, tweet about the laws? I mean, it just seems anachronistic that they're not allowed to bring their mobile phones into the public galleries. Because everybody uses their mobile phones now as pocket computers. So let's make Parliament more responsive to the public and use the internet to let everyone become online reporters of what's going on.
But the whole thing by its nature is sort of archaic, isn't it? If you go on election night, you go to a count, as obviously you have been. I've covered a few in my time. I mean, it's a load of well-meaning locals counting through bits of paper. I mean, there's got to be a better way of doing it than that, surely.
Well, exactly. I mean, I think that actually the way we vote, although it's great and traditional, we're still stuck in the dark ages. We mark a piece of paper with an old-fashioned pencil with an old-fashioned black metal ballot box. It takes a long time to count the votes. I mean, one election I was in, I had 3 recounts, and we didn't decide the result till the Saturday morning, and the count was on the Thursday night. So you have to change. The public do everything else online. The public bank online, we buy things online, and yet we can't even vote online. And if you can have enough security for banking, you should be able to have enough security for online voting. We need to make Parliament more responsive, our democracy more responsive in the internet age.
Did you look elsewhere at how it's done in other countries?
Yes, we looked at countries like Estonia, which has online voting that has been incredibly successful, and South Korea, which is just leap years ahead. It's like going to the 22nd century, let alone the 21st, the way they use computers in the Parliament, the way the Parliament can access the public can access what's going on, the way the MPs, literally tablets spring out of the desks that the MPs sit on, and we don't even have desks, we sit on benches. So there are countries doing this stuff. I'm not saying we should do everything they do, but at least this report looks forward and says, let's join the digital age, let citizens have a chance to have cyber parliaments, let's really involve people in what's going on, and let us have online democracy, let's have voting via the internet. Estonia is where it happens, and if they can do it, I don't see why we can't. But this isn't just about
online. There's not 60 million of them. Is the obvious answer. It's a rather smaller electorate for them to experiment with.
Yeah, of course, but the software will be the same, even though there may be bigger numbers of people. Not everyone would do it, as the person just said. That there were some people who vote in person, and you'd have to allow that for people who didn't have the internet. But I'm saying give people the option. You know, people want to do stuff on the internet. They watch television programs and vote via their phones or via the internet. Why can't we move democracy in our country to the 21st century?
So to bring it about, what has to happen? It needs legislation, presumably.
There would need to be legislation. I'm guessing there would need to be pilot studies in certain areas of the country to make sure that the software worked. You'd need agreement from all the major parties. And I'm hoping, the report recommends it's done for the 2020 election. I'm hoping that people are forward-looking enough and reform-minded enough that we can actually make these changes. And that will encourage more people to vote. It's much better than forcing people to vote. This will encourage more people to vote if they can do it in the way that they do every other part of their lives.
Governments don't have the greatest record in software projects, though, do they?
No, but you can bring in some of the great technology giants, whether it's Google or Facebook or eBay or whatever it may be, to help with these kind of things. And as I said, if it's done in pilot studies in certain areas of the country or with certain sectors of the population, then we can make sure it works before it's rolled out. If it was implemented by 2020, we'd have 5 years to get it right.
And just put simply, it'd come down to one person, one vote. So just to make sure that you can't vote on your phone 20 times, you can't vote on your phone and then go in person and then do it again on your iPad or your computer at home or whatever. But,
well, exactly.
that shouldn't be too difficult, should it?
Well, just as when I do my online banking, like millions of other people, you can only do it as the person that you are because of complex passwords and so on. It should. If we can put man on the moon and have online banking, I cannot see how we can't make it easier for people to vote online.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Robert Halfon, who was on the Digital Democracy Commission.